メジャー翻訳速報。
春季キャンプも佳境を迎え、日本人メジャーリーガーたちの活躍が楽しみなシーズン。タイラー・グラスノーが復帰し、ブレイク・ウスネルがドジャースデビューを控える中、大谷翔平を中心とした投手陣に期待が高まっています。ドジャースの夢のチームと呼ばれる布陣に注目が集まる現地の様子を日本語でお届けします。この動画が面白いと思っていただけましたら、チャンネル登録と高評価よろしくお願いします。
Welcome you inside our Sportsnet LA studio, joined today by Tim Cates and James Loney. It was Game 5 for the Dodgers today in Arizona. This one was all Cincinnati Reds, Tim, but a lot of the big names on the Dodgers pitching side, we finally saw them making their spring debuts today, getting some work in.
Yeah, 8 different pitchers, and it was good to see the bullpen get a lot of activity this afternoon, and guys who we're going to see an awful lot in 2025.
Yeah, obviously seeing Glasnow back out there, you know, the stuff's always there. I mean, the hits that he gave up were just fastballs up. Only one ball really hit hard in the gap, but we'll take that day from him.
All right, speaking of Tyler Glasnow, he saw his first game action since last August 11th, and he talked about it afterwards with Kirsten Watson.
Just to get out there, get an inning of work, how did it feel on the mound?
Good. It was nice to be back out there. It's been a while. It's been an actual game. I felt sharp. I felt good.
Dave was talking earlier about just kind of managing, obviously, the work you've been doing this offseason, looking to be kind of more in that athletic kind of body work and mindset. How did you feel just putting it out there and playing in a game with some of those adjustments you've made?
It felt really good. I didn't think about it. I think that's kind of more for practice. I think it is, Dave hit on it, but a theme of just like, I'm going to try and work on when I go out to the game, just be as athletic as I can. And I looked at a little video, looked good. I didn't think about it, and the mechanics felt solid.
Like, are the mechanics this year for you just kind of like mentally when you're pitching? Like, has it felt like a big change, or is it just kind of more subtle stuff? Like,
not a huge change. It's more just like how I land, and I don't want to be like super open. It's really not like a huge difference. It's just like a small step for healthier, kind of towards the catcher mechanics, I guess. Yeah, sweet.
Is it always like? I mean, for bigger body guys, like, there's a challenge of syncing everything up. Is that kind of like the mentality of not trying to think about that too much?
Yeah, I think once you put like a conscious thought into it, there's always some sort of delay with mechanics. So I think it's fine in practice when I'm working on stuff. I'm not moving full speed, but once I get into the game, just try to forget about it. And like, even I think today when no one was on, I felt great. And then when a guy got on first, I hadn't like done much of a quick step in a while, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta like. So I think there was a little bit more kind of figuring that out, but in a whole, everything was good.
Was there a sense of being more anxious to get to camp and to get into these games after the way the season ended for you and not being part of that run?
Kinda. I'm always like trying to get back. I think it's kind of like summer break when you're like, oh, okay, we have time off, and then time goes on. I'm like, I want to go back, and I'm bored. I want to go pitch. So I've always been pretty like ready to come back quick. But it's been nice, and I'm glad I can pitch this spring. It's been a while.
When you pitch an inning in the game and then you go into the bullpen, would you rather be in the game, or does it serve a purpose to throw in the bullpen?
I think it serves a purpose. I'd rather be in the game, but I don't know if I'm like the best person to ask. I think they were like, go throw, finish it in the bullpen, you know. But yeah, I think they're both going, getting a second inning or going out there. I think the mechanics are still synced up. You're still hot. So even when I went out there, like the same stuff it felt similar to the game. So I think what I needed to work on, I could work on out there.
With a few weeks left in camp, is there anything you're hoping to kind of just like do these next 2 weeks? Especially, I know that the plan's not for you to be pitching in a regular season game in Tokyo, but just how are you kind of approaching just closing out this time here in Arizona?
I think just the only difference between this year and the other years, I think, is like to practice those changes, and then I think have that separation from game to practice and just be an athlete, kind of like we talked about. But business as usual, and just try to stay healthy, work with the guys here, and just kind of treat it like another season.
Have they left that door open for you that you may pitch in Tokyo?
I don't know. I haven't really talked to them about it. I'm still just, I'll go after I throw a couple more innings and stuff. Maybe we'll figure it out. But right now I'm just kind of thinking about just the few I have coming up.
Tyler Glasnow coming off that elbow tendonitis, which ended his 2024 season in August. We heard him talking about making those small mechanical changes in the offseason, James, which he hopes will keep him healthy and effective all season long. Today, he showed flashes of that dominant stuff, gave up the 3 straight hits, but he talked about it afterwards. He was watching video, and he said it looked good mechanically, and he felt good.
Yeah, I mean, he's an innings eater. You know, he's an ace. He's a guy that wants the ball to save that bullpen for later in the season. And I feel like he's a guy that he needs to attack with his fastball early on. We saw it to start the game, because then that curveball right there, you see it's so devastating. It falls right off the table. right there, he left the fastball up. You know, like I said, it was only really hard ball that got hit all day. But if he can use that fastball, I think it's going to actually keep him healthier because a lot of guys, they want to throw breaking balls so much, so early in the count. And he's a guy that doesn't need that. Mid to high 90s, throw that curveball when you need to. And I think that will actually help keep him healthier.
Without using the word mechanics, he looked fluid out there. He looked like he was comfortable. It looked easy for him out there. He wasn't struggling. Also, he wasn't thinking, and that's something that he always worries about his mechanics. There I go, I said the M word. But he's very much thinking about it all the time, and Dave Roberts and the coaching staff are trying to get him to stop thinking as much out there. You're an athlete, you're talented, you got the arm, go out and throw.
That's one of those things, James, that now that you've taken up golf in the last couple of years, when you get on the golf course, you can't think about all the mechanics of the swing. You have to go play golf and not play golf swing, and it's similar when you're pitching out there.
Yeah, you heard him say, like in practice, you know, it can be a conscious thought, right? It can be a situation where you're working on things and you have a little more time to think about things, but when you're on this field out there, it's got to be unconscious. Your body's just got to kind of flow into it. Yeah, it's somewhere in the back of your brain, but it's really a flow state that when you hear that the greats are really in, even some of the hitters, they're like, man, when they say see ball, hit the ball, that's what they're feeling, but they're getting their body into a position to do that.
All right. Cincinnati Reds take this one by the final of 8-1. Let's go back to Arizona and hear from the skipper, Dave Roberts, with Kirsten Watson.
Well, Dave, today we saw a lot of key arms in this game. Let's start with Tyler Glasnow. This spring there's been a lot of talk about how he's come in, made a few minor mechanical changes, more of an athletic delivery. How did you see him put him into play in this game?
I thought Tyler was good today. Certainly out of the windup, I thought he was really good. I thought he was in his delivery, and then once we got that flare base hit and then the ground ball, and I think once he got in the stretch, he started to get a little disjointed with the delivery, and obviously in spring training he hasn't had any opportunity to work on that, but I think where he's at right now, I couldn't be more happy.
Yeah, and then of course a lot of arms out of the bullpen. We could go through the list, but what were you kind of seeing, just getting eyes on some of those guys, especially some of the newer faces, whether it's a Kirby Yates or a Tanner Scott?
I thought they were both fine. You know, obviously Tanner gave up a homer today. I thought the stuff was good. I thought Kirby was good, efficient. So I think those guys are where they need to be. Obviously seeing Alex looked very sharp today. And I thought Blake was fine. So gave up a homer, but, you know, Arizona, that's kind of part of it. But again, I thought all of our guys looked good today. And yeah, you know, Teoscar, we got him in there. He looks good, taking good at bats. And yeah.
With Eddie Rosario, we obviously know what he has done in the postseason to this team, but to see him now on this side, to see him in spring, how impressed have you been with just how he's been able to perform on the field with this team?
I love where he's at. I think Eddie's a guy that the last couple years is sort of off the radar, and he's trying to find his way back, betting on himself. He looks good. We know that he can hit a fastball. So to get him in camp, I'm trying to give him as many opportunities as possible, and he's showing out right now.
All right, thanks so much, Dave.
All right, Kirsten.
Bullpen, just another arm. I mean, this bullpen is going to be absolutely filthy.
Dodgers dropped this one 8-1. Tyler Glasnow gave up 2 runs on 3 hits in his 1 inning of work. He did punch out 2 guys. Anthony Bonda allowed a single and a walk, but no runs. Perfect inning for Kirby Yates. Tanner Scott, 2 runs, 2 strikeouts in his 1 inning. And Blake Treinen, hurt by that Sun double, then gave up the home run. He allowed 3 runs. Right now, let's go back inside the Dodgers clubhouse to Arizona. Tanner Scott with Kirsten and the media.
Well, Tanner, just first spring outing, how did it feel just kind of get out there, get off the mound, and how things have been going this spring?
Well, the spring's been good. The first outing, I wish it would have went a little better, and I wish Hayes wouldn't have hit a home run off me, and I wouldn't have walked the first guy. But first game, the next one, I'm looking forward to the next one and just move forward.
What's been the focus for you just this spring?
Attack the zone and not walk people, and I started off too early with a walk, and it hurt me. So, I mean, that's just my main focus, just make sure I'm throwing strikes and getting people out.
Obviously, there's been a lot of excitement with you coming to this organization, with getting to know the pitching coaches over here, kind of learning how they go about things. What has that transition just been like for you?
Oh, it's been great. I mean, right when I came out, I was talking to Connor and Mark, and I mean, I'm looking forward tomorrow to play catch and fix whatever I was doing wrong today, and go out there and just attack the next game.
All right. Well, we look forward to seeing you do just that. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Here's what's ahead on the Cactus League calendar. Noon starts the next 3 days. Friday, our first Cactus League game under the lights this spring when the Dodgers host the Angels. Be sure to join us for highlights and reaction after the games. And reminder, every single game from Arizona can be seen right here on Sportsnet LA. Ahead on Access, much Carl's Jr. moments of the game. It's the new guys, Kirby Yates and Tanner Scott, getting their first strikeouts, Tim, in a Dodgers uniform.
Yeah, Kirby Yates, get used to seeing a lot of him out of the bullpen. Tanner Scott, that 1-2 combination, lefty-righty. The split fingers already in midseason form.
Such a good splitty, and then Tanner Scott can spin it as well. That was his first strikeout.
Yeah, I mean, he's got that slider. You know, it's going to be great on lefties and righties.
All right, speaking of Kirby Yates, he talked about his outing with Kirsten and the media.
Kirby, just to get out there, just to have Dodgers technically debut. I know we're waiting for the big one in regular season, but just to be out there, be with this organization, how have you been feeling this spring?
It's good. You know, you kind of always want to go out there and get the first one out of the way kind of as quick as possible. You know, anytime you go out there and throw 10 pitches, it's a good thing. So, you know, you just get the first one out of the way and then go evaluate it and get rolling.
Yeah, what would you say has been the biggest focus for you this spring training?
Just trying to get the body moving again, right? You know, getting the timing with mechanics and all of that, be able to execute the pitches that you normally do. But I think that all just comes with volume and rhythm and just trying to get out there frequently and kind of get in a routine.
Obviously, the stuff was really good today. Do you feel like you're in a good spot, just considering only a few more weeks left here in Arizona? Of course, the team will go to Tokyo. So still time for, I guess, domestic regular season, but just considering that the time here is now limited, are you feeling like you're in a good spot heading to Tokyo?
Yeah, I mean, my body feels good, arm feels strong, and that's kind of the only two things you really can control, right? So it's like going into this, I think once you get more reps, kind of games under your belt, you can kind of, you know, get into the routine and get the things done that you expect to do when you get closer to the season starting.
I feel like today is probably the first preview of just kind of what the bullpen's going to look like, considering all of the big league arms here. What was it like just from your viewpoint, seeing whether it's Tanner Scott, Alex Vesia, like all of the guys who were just in, Blake Trinan, who were in there today?
It's a good bullpen. You know, the hard part is we haven't done anything yet, right? You got to go out and pitch an entire season, do good, have everything click, and do all those things that make you good. But as a whole, and you know where we are right now, I think we're all very confident.
They are the World Series champions, but not resting on last year's title. This past offseason, they were once again baseball's busiest front office. And last week in Arizona, Commissioner Rob Manfred addressed the Dodgers' way of doing business.
The Dodgers have gone out and done everything possible, always within the rules that currently exist, to put the best possible team on the field, and I think that's a great thing for the game. By the same token, I said this at the owners' meetings, I'll say it again. It's clear that we have fans in some markets that are concerned about the ability of the team in their market to compete with the financial resources of the Dodgers. And I think if we've been consistent on one point, it is we try to listen to our fans on topics like this. And I have heard people on this, believe me. I get a lot of emails about it.
That system is going to go into this season with one team having a $400 million payroll and another having a $70 million. I mean, how comfortable are you with a sport that allows for that kind of disparity?
It certainly is at the top of my list of concerns about what's going on in the sport. You know, when I say I can't be critical of the Dodgers, they're doing what the system allows. If I'm going to be critical of something, it's not going to be the Dodgers, it's going to be the system.
Well, and the bottom line is the Dodgers are indeed playing by the rules. They're trying to win. And the reality is, Tim, there are other fans out there. They would love for their team to be trying to win at the level that the Dodgers are.
Well, listen, owners are making money in every single market. Every single owner is bringing home cash every single season. Freddie Freeman said it a week ago, I think in your conversation, John. He respects the Dodgers for then getting that money that they're making and turning around and investing it back in the players. Because other owners want to sit on that money and watch it continue to grow and see the interest on it, that's on them. Their fans there, don't email Rob Manfred. Email your owner and your ownership group and tell them, start spending that money that you're making off of your money as a fan. The system is not broken. The owners are broken for not going out and spending. The Dodgers are playing fairly by the game, within the rules. They're just better than everybody else, and they're also the only one that actually wants to spend some of that money.
I like the passion. I'm feeling that.
I'm just
right
tired
there.
of this.
No.
Let's bash the Dodgers.
Right. No, I appreciate that, because really what is happening, a lot of times these owners don't want to spend the money too, because what if they lose, right? They spend all this money, they go get one big slugger, they go get one big pitcher. What if this guy gets hurt? What if all these factors, go into this equation? So a lot of times, they just want to sit on their money. This is a classic case of don't hate the player, hate the game. Don't get mad at us for, trying to win, trying to bring in guys, trying to complement our other pieces. And that's what the Dodgers are going to continue to do with this system. You see Rob Manfred said, well, with the system we have in place. So, there are some questions right there.
Well, the system is in place, Tim, but you don't have to look very far to see a team like the San Diego Padres, not a large market. They don't have a great TV deal, yet they have a high payroll, and they're trying to win and spending the money to do that.
Yeah, I don't fault them for trying. Certainly, there's other markets out there that are completely not even trying to be competitive, and then you can't bellyache about it. Don't bite the hand that feeds you either, Rob Manfred. I know you work for the owners, but the Dodgers, the Yankees, the Red Sox, even the Padres, although they're not winning, but they're spending the money. These are where the superstars are. These are where your ratings are going to come from. This is where your TV money is going to come from. This is where all your marketing money and the advertising money globally now that you're able to get because of these international players is coming from. You're making all this money. Baseball's successful right now. People are watching again. People are listening again. Why ruin a good thing if the Dodgers are doing it the right way?
All right, we'll see how it all plays out after this after this current CBA, I should say, does expire in a couple of years. Dodgers picked up their first win of the spring yesterday, but that wasn't the story. This guy right here, Dustin May, was the real story. Back on the mound in a game for the first time since having a second Tommy John surgery and then emergency surgery for a torn esophagus. May put up a 0 in his one inning, finished it with that strikeout right there. You can see the emotion as he walked off the mound at Camelback Ranch. It's not on the scale of Dustin May, but this season is a comeback for Tyler Glasnow as well. After an all-star first half to his first season with the Dodgers last year, he was shut down in August with elbow tendonitis. Recently at Camelback Ranch, I got connected with Tyler Glasnow. Tyler Glasnow, now a World Series champion. I know that sounds pretty darn cool to you. When you look back at last season, it seems like maybe to you or to some other people, it was the absolute best of times, and I won't say the worst of times, but certainly some frustrating times mixed in with that because you are World Series champion. You set a number of career highs as a pitcher as well, but then you had to be a spectator in October. So when you look 24, what comes through your mind?
Yeah, it was like an up and down season for me. I think the ultimate goal, though, coming to the Dodgers was just to contribute and win multiple World Series, I guess. And I guess to come in year one, and it was unfortunate I couldn't contribute, but I think it was, I guess in a way, less stressful the fact that we won. It would have sucked so much more if we ended up getting there and then not winning the World Series and I wasn't able to participate and contribute, and that definitely would have hurt a lot more. I'm glad we came out and won, and I hope this year, I know this year that I'm going to be able to contribute and help when the playoffs start.
What did your offseason look like in terms of if you're still rehabilitating your elbow or any other injuries you had? Did you train any differently now going into 2025?
Not a ton. I think the biggest thing for me was to address like some mechanical inefficiencies, and I think that was just something I worked on since I got hurt and then took it into the offseason and then have been kind of implementing it now. Off-season stuff, though, like working out and all that stuff is kind of the same. I've always done like a good amount in the off season, and I was working with BMAC and the staff and kind of changed some lifts up, but for the most part kind of kept it relatively similar.
I've heard some other former pitchers talk about it. Oral's even talked about it. Because you are so tall and you've got these long lever systems, it can be harder to get your mechanics maybe a little bit out of whack. Is that something that you've been fighting for a good portion of your career as you've been such a tall pitcher?
Yeah, and I think each year it gets easier in terms of execution, I guess. Like when I was younger, like an inch off, it was like all over the zone. And I think as far as execution goes, I can keep it in the zone now. But I think the biggest thing for me is like solidifying it for injuries' sake, I guess. I guess when a little thing is off and I'm late, puts a lot more stress on parts of my body. But I think what I've done this year to address that is like change up some mechanical stuff, and so far so good. And I feel like my misses are smaller, and I guess like when I'm not timed up, it feels a lot more natural.
When you came here last year and you looked around, you saw the talent that was in the room. I'm sure that was probably pretty cool to see. And then you come back this year and there's even more talent. When you gather first full squad day and you look around that clubhouse, is it pretty incredible just to see the faces and the names that are in there?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a dream team for sure. You know, I think we go out and win last year and then add all these guys. It's insane, you know. And I think our expectation is to win multiple World Series, and I think everyone in that room has the exact same expectations. So it's a bright future for the Dodgers.
When you look at the starting staff, and people have joked, oh my gosh, it's like 5 aces basically making up the 5 men in the rotation when you count Shohei when he comes back. How much are you looking forward to what you guys can do on a nightly basis? Because I imagine in some ways you guys will try to push each other a little bit as well.
Yeah, there's always a little bit of like competition amongst starters for sure, but I think at the the overall, I guess, the theme is like you go out and execute and do as well as you possibly can. And then you go out the next night and you see like it's just a bunch of number ones, and I think that it's like the healthy competition where you always want to go out and like pitch the best throughout the week, and then you also are cheering for your guys. So I think the competition mixed with like the team camaraderie is just such a good place to get better and a good place to like put together a great season. So I'm just excited to go see all those guys pitch and to get me kind of, you know, motivated and go out and try to pitch well every week.
Last year, I think we sat in these same chairs and you talked about you wanted to establish new career highs in certain categories, which you were able to do, whether it was starts, innings pitched, and strikeouts as well. When you look forward to 2025, is it less about those numbers and more about durability and health, or do you still have certain numbers that you would like to reach?
I mean, I think last year was, I guess, good because they're all career highs, but it's still not what I know that I'm capable of, I guess. So I think my biggest goal is just to stay healthy, but I also think execution-wise and like, I guess innings pitched and all that other stuff, I still think there's a lot, like I can do a lot better. So it was a good season, I guess, when I was healthy, but I just think it wasn't as good as I know I can be, and I want to stay healthy all year long and then contribute in the playoffs.
Last thing for you, what's the vibe like down the clubhouse now that the full squad is here? I imagine people don't talk about the World Series, but I imagine there's an incredible amount of confidence that let's run this back.
Yeah, I think we talk about it just because everyone asks us about it, you know? Like, I think, so it's down there, but we've talked about it in our meetings and stuff, but it's weird, like there's like more a hunger this year. It was obviously, there was a hunger last year, but it's like kind of coming in, and I think for the most part, people from the outside might think we're like, oh, we won a World Series, it's okay, like time to coast. It just seems like there's a lot more urgency, and I think that even coming in early before the position players are supposed to report, and they're out there doing ground balls for like 2 hours, and they're all, like they all want to be out there. And I think a lot of teams that I've been on, it's like, oh, we got early work and blah, blah, blah. And those dudes are just like, we want to go do this for 2 hours a day. It's pretty incredible. So the hunger is definitely there, and that sense of urgency is very alive.
Love to hear that. Fire still burning. Tyler
sure.
Glasnow. Tyler, thank you so much, man.
Thanks,
Appreciate
dude.
your time.
Appreciate it.
Best day of David Vassay's life tomorrow. It's officially Snellzilla time. Blake Snell will make his first Cactus League start since signing that 5-year deal with the Dodgers last November, going against his hometown team, the Seattle Mariners. Tim, first pitch at noon right here on Sportsnet LA. What are you hoping to see out of Snellzilla in his first game?
I'm hoping he comes out injury-free, but most importantly, just excited to see him wearing Dodger blue, rock that number 7. I think the last time we saw a guy wearing number 7 in a Dodger uniform.
We've had a few guys wearing number 7, including this guy over here.
I didn't get to get on the mound, though. No, I want to see Snell attack those guys inside fastballs to the righties, because a lot of times these guys are going to, stack their lineups with righties, right? He's probably not going to see a lot of lefties, but I want to see him pound the zone inside to righties. 7,
good number for a first baseman. A little odd, though, for a pitcher, right? It looks a little strange seeing that single digit. For Kirsten, James, and Tim, I'm John. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow. First pitch at noon. Dodgers and Mariners right here on Sportsnet LA.
メジャー翻訳速報。
タイラー・グラスノーの復帰投球は安定感があり、投球フォームの調整も順調のようです。一方、明日はブレイク、スネルの初登板が控えています。大谷翔平を含むこの夢のチームがシーズンでどんな戦いを見せるのか、本当に楽しみですね。これからも日本人選手の活躍を中心に、現地の最新情報をお届けしていきます。チャンネル登録と高評価、よろしくお願いします。